Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report Podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. It is a Thursday edition of the show. We are in prime time, the last podcast of the week, but we are saving the best for last with a very special guest that we are excited to have on in mere seconds. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is my co-host from PewterReport.com, J.C. Allen. J.C., how you doing, my man?
Doing great, man. Doing even better. We got Cody coming on here with us, talk a little bit of Bucs football, a little bit of his background, dive into what makes him tick a little bit. Excited for this one.
That's right. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, joining the show for the entirety, Bucs second round pick right guard Cody Mauch. He's already won the hearts of many Bucs fans everywhere. Cody, thank you so much for joining the show. How you doing?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing great, man. Can't be much better.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's been a whirlwind for you. We were just talking a little bit before the show started, going from North Dakota to Tampa, obviously two very different climates. So just how's it been for you overall making that move and now working out in this Tampa climate, which even in May is absolutely no joke down here?
Yeah, it's been a lot. It was the first weekend for rookie minicamp. I've never really dealt with this before, being from North Dakota. It gets really hot up there, but even when it's hot, it's always humid out here in Tampa as well, which is a big part of it. So you're really praying for those days where, like today, where a little bit cloudy, a little bit windy. Like you don't realize how big of a deal that difference that makes. So it's been good though. The biggest thing is keeping up with hydration. That's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to lose a ton of weight just from like sweating it all out, even in warm-ups and stuff like that. So I always make sure when we go to the facility where we park, there's a gigantic Bucs flag, and you're always praying that breeze is going to be there. I'm like, is this going to be a good flag day or a bad flag day? Because you can get a good like IG story as well when the flag is going. But has it been just acclimating yourself already? Has it been any times where like, oh, geez, this is too much? Or are you still going steady a couple practices in?
Yeah, still going steady. Obviously learning right now, learning as much as I can from really whoever I can. Just really learning, not only the playbook and stuff, but how to practice, how to be a professional, just kind of learning everything right now. So just try and take in whatever I can from everyone.
Now, I always say for a rookie in any situation, there's so much going on. Obviously, you spend the offseason not really training for your position. You're training for the combine, you're training for your pro days, etc. So, you have to make that shift from training for an event to training back for football. You throw in the fact that you're in a new city, you're in a new organization, new teammates, new playbook, new everything. It's really tough, to be able to focus on everything all at once. But, obviously talking to, some of your former coaches, you've got the work ethic that you're going to put that in and really grind. But as far as, you said taking it in from your teammates, has there been any of these older guys who kind of like taken you under their wing already and just showed you how to be a professional?
Not really like no one in particular, just kind of all of them. I think there's a lot of good guys to learn from, but, been getting just reps next to guys like, Rob and Nick and Luke. Like Luke's been helping me, because we're running a lot of combo blocks together. So just trying to kind of learn from him, what he likes. And really, no one really in particular, but just a lot of good guys around, the O-line room.
Yeah, overall, I think it's a great locker room, specifically the offensive line. A lot of great dudes that perform well and very chill off the field, too. And I think you guys on the offensive line have a couple things in common. You've talked a lot about growing up on a farm and your background there. Luke Gedeke, I remember when he got drafted last year, he was telling us about him growing up on a farm, and he had Bring Your Tractor to School Day, which I thought was interesting. And Tristan Wirfs, obviously being from Iowa, there's a big farmland there. I always know knee high by the 4th of July is the big saying over there. Have you guys talked about that background at all? Just the familiarity that you guys have with it?
Yeah, not really. No, haven't really talked too much about the farming with anyone yet, but Yeah, not really. No, talked to Luke a little bit. We trained at the same place, both for our pre-draft process. So we're, shared a couple stories about that. But yeah, haven't really got into the whole farming stuff yet.
Yeah, there's obviously, coming with farm manual physical labor. Have you taken any of those, maybe any of those things that you did on as a farmer and incorporated them into your workout or anything like that?
Nothing like physical, but there's just all the, intangibles that it comes with, just like the, waking up early, putting in long days, hard work, kind of resilience, like, just because stuff goes wrong on the farm all the time. You got to be able to adapt and adjust pretty quickly and, make do with certain circumstances. So it's, relative. I mean, same thing happens in football. You're putting in long days, getting up
Yeah.
early, working all the time. So just trying to take really my work ethic from farming to the football world as well.
I can't
One of the
help but
reasons
think. Oh, go ahead,
I was
JC.
going to say, one of the reasons I ask, and somebody just put this in here, Ginger Brock Lesnar has joined the pod. But I remember watching Brock, and he would train, and he'd pick up, obviously life on the farm up in the upper Northwest, just with logs on his back. And you saw Tristan Wirfs a couple years ago just carrying around a dead log. So I didn't know if you were doing any of that stuff to kind of stay in shape during the off season, in college or whatnot, and just kind of adapting that to your workout.
Yeah, no, I haven't yet, but it's never too late.
JC, I swear to God, I was literally about to bring up Brock Lesnar. I know he's a South Dakota guy, but yeah, watching those films and everything of that nature. One last question about the farm. What's the chore or task that you did on the farm that you just hated doing the most?
Oh, easily getting in a grain bin and shoveling it out. You get to the bottom of the grain bin where there's just a couple feet of corn or whatever, and it's 95 degrees out, so it's even hotter in a grain bin. And sometimes there's rotten corn in there. It just sucks to go in there on a hot day and get all sweaty with rotten corn.
Ooh,
Couldn't imagine.
Yeah. So getting back to the Bucs a little bit and their offense, I know Dave Canales, the new offensive coordinator. He's putting an emphasis on running the ball, which I imagine is music to an offensive lineman's ears.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of zone blocking this year. And I was reading an article where you were interviewed, and you were talking about your time at North Dakota, and that you guys ran a little bit of everything in the run game, whether it was a hat on a hat, zone blocking. How much do you think that variety of just the run game that was implemented when you were at school, how much is that going to help you now at this level?
Yeah, it should help a lot. Like we ran, any scheme you can think of, we had that in our playbook at North Dakota State. So you at least have somewhat of a familiarity with that scheme or that type of run, type of protection. So just having it all, it's not new. Like it's almost football is football, schemes are schemes. Yeah, there's going to be the caveats here and there, but I think it helped me so much being at North Dakota State and just the complexity of our offense.
Yeah, I think, obviously Canales is the one who's implementing the entire offense, but you're working mostly with Coach Goody, a little bit with Coach Gilbert as well. He usually works with the tackles, but Goody is the guy who's coaching you. Here he is pictured right here. I tell Matt and I tell all the guys when we're out there, I find myself gravitating toward their coaching. I just love their style. They're in your face. They're not apologetic about it, but they're really, really amazing teachers. And you can just see watching the reps, him taking the time with you one-on-one, and then the next rep, it's like you got it. Can you just speak to their level of coaching? They're yelling and cursing at you the entire time. And so far, what's your feel is from them and their coaching style?
Yeah, no, I love it. I think the things with any kind of coaching, it's always just kind of hearing the the message, not the tone of it, and not that their tone is ever bad, but if a guy's yelling at you, he's coaching you to get better. You just have to take that and just try to hear what he's saying and try to implement that the next play, because as a coach, it's got to be so frustrating when you're trying to teach something and you just keep, the player keeps messing it up the next play and the next play. And it's, part of it's obviously wanting myself to just, perform as well as I can and take in as much as I can, but also you don't want to let your coaches down. You don't want to let your teammates down. So, no, love their coaching style and just trying to, again, two great offensive line coaches. I just want to learn as much as I can from.
Yeah, they're you always hear them on the field. I think they are two of the loudest coaches that you will find, which I think is always awesome because the whole coaching staff. It started with Bruce Arians, who's no longer there, but his mantra. Well, he's there not as a coach in the front office, but his mantra was always coach them hard and love them later. Whether like they're going to get on you for something doesn't mean that they hate you or anything like that. They're just trying to get you better. I'm curious about Dave Canales as well because we're still learning about Dave too, when he got hired as the offensive coordinator, just from getting to talk to him a little bit and seeing him coach on the field. I call him the human Celsius. Like he's just a real energizer. It seems like he's always like, go, 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 and very enthusiastic. Just what's been your take of him when he's been running this offense?
No, that's exactly what I would say too, is he just always brings the juice. He's a positive guy, obviously going to lift you up when he has to, going to get on you when he needs to, but every single time we've had a meeting or been on the field or even just in the hallway, he's always enthusiastic, obviously just loves what he does, which just makes everyone around him want to, play that much more too when you're just around the right people. So, but love to get to know, him in the offense. It's been a fun couple weeks.
Yeah. And, coming into the league, obviously you played left tackle, a couple games at right tackle as well, but you came in as a tight end. Can you just talk about that transformation? What made you? Was it just a numbers game where there was a better option for you to play at tackle? How did that switch come arise? And then obviously the work that you put in to get there, gaining weight, learning that position, and then ultimately succeeding and becoming a second-round pick.
Yeah, really what led up to it, it was never really in the cards early on to switch over. That wasn't ever really the plan. It was kind of just, our strength coach knew I could put on some weight. Got on the plan. I was putting on, our 1 to 2 pounds a week that we teach, and all of a sudden I gained 40 pounds, and it's like, well, I could keep gaining more. So then the coaches, started to have some conversations about it, and I ended up, eventually moving into tackle, and then it's a whole other game. It's right. The offensive line's its own thing. It's crazy how complex it is for how easy it seems what you do. You're just blocking people, like how much actually goes into it. So had to learn from a lot of the older guys, kind of the way to go, as it always is as a young guy. You want to learn from the older guys. So really just took in from them as much information as I could, and then tried to become that older guy and that leader myself for the younger guys at school.
You still got the hands?
What's that?
You still got the hands?
Never lost them, yeah.
Nice. You're out there, maybe get out there for some motion sleeves, something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, they did it with Vita Vea, so maybe they can come up with a package.
Warren Sapp caught a touchdown pass, didn't he?
Warren Sapp too. I was curious, when you're putting on that weight, is it just like, are you eating more? Are you lifting differently or putting on more weight? What was the exact process with that, going from tight end to offensive tackle?
Yeah, really what it was monitoring my weight all the time. I would check my weight a couple times a day, just always want to know where I'm at. And yeah, I'm eating all the time, but we're on developmental lifts where we're lifting heavy 4 times a week in season because we're redshirting. We're not going to play. So, and I even did 2 years of that. Even my, I traveled with the team my redshirt freshman year, but I was still doing the heavy 4 days a week because I wanted to, we wanted to keep gaining that progress. So it was eating all the time, lifting all the time, and just getting to know your body, really. I mean, I'm to a point now where I can just kind of feel myself and be like, oh, I'm probably about 306 today. And, you're usually pretty good with that.
A lot of that humidity down here, you lose, like Matt said, you lose a lot of weight. So you're going to have a couple extra meals and stuff like that. And speaking of extra meals, I have to know how you became such a yelper. How did that start? How did that begin? And to be honest, I love reading some of your reviews, but where did that come from?
Shoot, it was just, we were on a trip. Me and some of my buddies went on a trip somewhere. I think we drove out to one of my buddies' place in Wyoming. So we made the drive out there, and we stopped at some places along the way, and it's really just a joke. I mean, I take the reviews seriously. I try to be a little bit funny with them, but I'm serious about the reviews. But it started out as kind of a joke, and I was on it for a little while. I kind of fell away from it for a little while, but yeah, with all these restaurants down here, I might have to get back into it.
I noticed your last one was walk-ons, and you were quite a fan of that one. We've got 2 locations, and they actually were last year. They were Pewter Report's game day sponsor, so we'll have to put in a good word in for you and get you some meals. Devin White actually owns the one, your teammate up here in Lutz. So,
cool. Yeah, did not know that.
Yeah. It all comes full circle. I was curious. I know you're extremely busy just learning the playbook and being at the facility every single day. So I don't know how much you've gotten to really see of the city of Tampa, but is there anything you're like looking forward to doing here in Florida that maybe you wouldn't be able to do back home?
We got to go to a Rays game the other day. That was fun. That was definitely, best team in baseball. That was something that I wanted to go see. So was happy we were able to do that. Otherwise, I'd like to, get out on the water, go to the beach, go maybe fishing or something. If we can find some time for that in the time I'm down here for the next couple weeks, absolutely would love to do that.
I know Kalijah Cansey threw out the first pitch of the Rays game the other day. Didn't go crazy well, but you've thrown out the first pitch as well for a local team back home, if I'm not mistaken. How did that one go? I only saw pictures. I didn't get to see a video, but was it strike down the middle?
I was just trying to throw her as hard as I could. Might have been a little bit outside, but I love baseball. I played baseball growing up. I love baseball.
I was going to ask you what sports you played growing up. Baseball. I know basketball as well with the whole tooth incident, but anything else?
Yeah, baseball, basketball, football. Did track and field, and I did golf for a couple years as well.
What was your sport in track and field?
I threw javelin, discus, and shot put.
I know Tristan was doing that too. So another thing you have in common, there, Luke Gedicke's an avid fisherman. I've seen a couple things. He was just out there with Tristan. They almost caught a wahoo. He actually reeled in a shark. It was huge. It was like the size of him.
Yeah.
But I know once you guys have some free time, link up with Luke. He's definitely a big fisherman. Speaking of like things, you like to do on your downtime, what are some of the things you enjoy, whether it's like, I don't know, TV shows, activities, just kind of things, to entertain yourself? Are you a gamer or?
I kind of do. Yeah. I mean, I'll watch TV. I'll play some games. My biggest thing is, I like to go hunting. Hunting's big up in North Dakota, so go shoot some birds or, haven't been able to deer hunt in the last couple of years just because it always falls right during football season.
Right.
It's just tough to get out, but love to go out and shoot some pheasants or something. And, I have a 3-year-old dog as well, so just do stuff with him, like to bring him with to the hunts and stuff, watch him work. That's fun, but otherwise, go take my dog for a run or, just really hang out with my buddy. We've got big into disc golfing in the last couple of years.
I love that.
Okay.
That's a fun time. It's hog season right now. So once you guys are off on break, you can just scoot down right up the road and go hog hunting.
That's what I heard. I'm going to have to try to do that because that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned your dog, Motley, who was named after the band Motley Crue. It was an obligatory question from our boss. We got to know your favorite Motley Crue song, potentially your favorite Motley Crue album, and your favorite member of the band.
Yeah. I'll pick more of a ballad and go like Home Sweet Home. Just always good feels when you listen to that,
Classic.
Obviously it changes. Shoot, if I'm listening before a game, I'm gonna be listening to something a little bit more like Livewire,
Kickstart My Heart. Something like
exactly.
That.
That's and there for album, it might be like, I don't know, too well, maybe like Decade of Decadence or Dr. Feelgood album, maybe one of those two.
Yeah, that's good. Did you ever see The Dirt on Netflix?
Oh yeah, it was really awesome when that came out.
So good. Such a good
that was great. I got to see Motley Crue live also, so that was
fun. Nice.
Yeah. Where'd you see them at?
They were at the Fargo Dome up in Fargo.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen them live, but like that would be a band. I respect like all music. I think people try to put people in a box of like, oh, you weren't alive then, or well, you don't like this type of music. Like, I don't know. A good song's a good song. It doesn't really matter like who it's by, what genre it is. Good music is good music.
They just did the draft too, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
so yeah, definitely. Is that more of your like genre style? Are you kind of eclectic? Obviously you're a big Taylor Swift fan, but what's your musical style, your tastes?
Yeah, I'd say, I grew up listening to like the hair metal, 80s hair bands. That was just
Yeah.
what my parents would listen to, so I was always on that. Still love that. And the older I got, I got into like I like some like country music as well, and really any kind of country, anything from like George Strait all the way to Hardy. Like I like most kinds of music, so I'm a pretty easy guy to please.
Speaking of good taste, the best tasting energy drink around, of course, is Celsius Energy Drinks, the official sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. They have a variety of flavors, so many awesome ones to choose from. The Oasis Vibe is one of the newest ones they got out there. Can't go wrong with the sparkling lemon lime or sparkling orange either. I'm also a huge fan of the Arctic Vibe. That's my personal favorite. Strawberry lemonade is great as well. Zero sugar, no crash or post energy drink jitters that you might get from other products out there. If you want to find out where to get a Celsius, go to the store locator on their website, punch in your address, and it will tell you the exact closest location where you can find a Celsius energy drink, whether it's your local Walmart, Target, your convenience store, 7-Eleven, or your bodega. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. Cody, I want to go back again to North Dakota just a little bit. What made you choose that school in the first place? What made you fall in love with it?
Well, really, for me, it was the closest, big time college program near us, and thankfully it was within an hour of us. But
Yeah.
and just the success that they had while I was growing up, from 2011 until 2022, winning, I don't even know, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 championships, whatever it is, like they're winning it every year. So it was just always kind of the school I wanted to go to. I have family that went there, friends, and just a lot of respect for the football team. And that was, it was a pretty easy choice for me.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, go ahead, JC.
I was going to say, it's that culture too, right? A lot of people, it's not a destination school. People aren't from the city or from Florida or from maybe California and say, I want to go to North Dakota State. So it's that kind of those homegrown boys and those homegrown girls that are from that area that are going to that school for the most part, right? So you must feel like you have, a sense of home, even though you're not at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah, you have another family as well, as it always is with a football team. And, we were able to get, by the time I had gotten there, they were on such a good win streak that, we're getting recruits from all over the place. Like we're getting guys from Florida, we're getting guys from Lakeland, right out here, California. So it has become more of a destination spot just because of all the success that we've had. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things is just the culture up there.
I'm glad
we talked about it a little bit earlier about that you moved from one side to the other side at offensive tackle. Tristan Wirfs is kind of going through that right now where he started at right tackle, all pro, did a fantastic job. They're moving him over to left tackle. And the best way he described it last season when he was talking about it was it's kind of like driving a car on the other side of the road, like if you're going to Europe. For you making that transition, how long did it take you to kind of get acclimated to that?
Thankfully, when I first started playing offensive line, I was kind of all over the place between, just tackle, but right side, left side, every day it could be different. So I got a good feeling for both of them right away. But then I had just been on the left side for 3-4 years for so long that I agree with it. It's just a little bit unnatural. Everything in your mind is just a little bit flipped. So, kind of working through that now, just feeling so much more comfortable kicking to my left than my right. But, I'm coming around to it. I mean, and also just moving inside as well. Everything's a little bit different at guard. So, just kind of learning every single day a little bit more about it.
I'm glad you brought up Lakeland because you have a former teammate who's a current teammate from Lakeland, and Josh Hayes. So how is that relationship? Seeing him realizing he's coming to the Bucs, first time seeing each other again after, a year apart because he went over to K-State. But how's that, having a guy that you are comfortable with, and coming into the program?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. We played 3 or 4 years together at NDSU. So, you get close with, and he was in my class. So you get close with those guys. When we were watching the draft, I was at another buddy's draft party, and, we look on the TV, we see Josh got drafted, and we're all just so pumped up. Like, how sweet is that? We get to be teammates again. And it's been fun to catch up with him a little bit. You have that familiarity already with him where you're, kind of like the inside jokes you just kind of, form over time. You can just you're already there with him. So it's been fun to see him and talk to him again.
Who is your roommate for the rookie group?
I actually don't have a roommate. I've got pretty blessed and have my own room. So
nice. Can spread out a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious, how'd you get the nickname Tud?
Well, so what it was growing up. Well, I guess I was really young. My brother. I have an older brother. He's about 1.5 years older than me, and he always struggled saying Cody, and it would come out as Toady. And also when he's young, it just Toad. Just kind of like that, and it just somehow turned in. My uncle, started calling me Tud from it. So it's stuck ever since I was probably 2 or 3 years old.
This actually, Ward Burns brings up the next question I was going to ask. Just asking, obviously there's some really good defensive linemen that you guys are going to be going up against this season. Who are you excited to go up against? Anyone in particular? As you mentioned, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox. There's kind of a murderer's row coming up there at defensive line with some of these opponents.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for all the challenges. I've never really been a guy who I just kind of, like to point out them, and I want to beat them. Obviously, I want to beat everyone, but I think there's a little bit more to worry about before that. I would still want to go try to win the job first of all.
Yeah.
Play against the guys on our team, our D linemen, and then kind of get to the point where then I'm more comfortable, I guess, saying who I would go up against. I don't really, if you know me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a long way until the season starts, and you're fighting for a job there, and trying to win it. But so then, who did you look up to as far as offensive linemen, whether that be exterior, interior guys that you kind of maybe took some things from and molded your craft after, while also developing your own style?
Yeah, one of the biggest guys that I like to watch for the last many years was Joe Staley. I was I was a tight end, and I still was kind of intrigued with his story, the way a very similar story to me. Smaller school, gained a bunch of weight, moved tight end to O-line, and so I would always watch Joe, just athletic guy, I like to watch him, and I was able to train with him this last off season.
Nice.
So the pre-draft, pre-combine time, Joe was kind of, the O-line guy training us. So that was kind of full circle. Pretty sweet to be trained by a guy that you grew up watching all the time.
No way. That's incredible. Like we were saying before, you're really busy. We talked about the schedule briefly, but I don't know if you peeked at it a little bit. First game of the season is at Minnesota, generally closer to the area where you played school at and grew up at. I imagine, are you going to have a bunch of family going to that game?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of them. Yeah, it's 4 hours away for my hometown, but that's nothing out in the Midwest. That's a real quick drive. So, there's going to be a lot of family and friends there.
And then later on in the season, the Bucs go to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. Going to be a pretty cold one. Are you the most suited to play in that type of weather on the Bucs?
Well, shoot. I mean, with how cold it gets in North Dakota, got to be up there for one of them because, it is pretty brutal, the cold up there. So hopefully I'm a little bit used to it. Hopefully I don't get, soft out here in this Florida heat.
Hey, man, I mean, I'm from New York. J.C. is from Massachusetts. We grew up in the cold. But when you come down to Florida and then you go back and visit, the first couple times you're like, damn, that Floridian blood thing is kind of true. Did you have any tricks of the trade of when you're playing in freezing cold weather, or is it just kind of like a state of mind type of thing that you just got to overcome it?
No, it's really just a state of mind. I was, thankfully we had a dome that we played in. But there are teams that didn't have domes and it would be cold and no, never. The biggest thing is if you can keep your hands warm, the rest of your body, that's really, you get to the point where you're trying to squeeze and it's just so slow. Your reflexes are just so slow. And you keep your hands warm. It helps the rest of your body stay warm as well. So getting by the heater on the sidelines is always pretty nice.
I was going to say, it's no joke down here, as Matt was saying. Once you're down here and acclimated, your blood thins out. 60 degrees, you're like, I need a hoodie. Whereas 60 degrees up north, it's like shorts and T-shirts time. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Mm-hmm. We've gotten inundated kind of on the chat, and everyone wants to know because obviously there's a couple other redheads on the team, and Co Keefe and Ryan Jensen. How's the sun treating the skin down here? My son's a redhead, so I know I got to load him up on sunscreen if we're going to be out there. How's the sun treating you down here?
Yeah, it's been fine. I just been making sure anytime I even think about going outside, if I'm just walking over to the indoor, I almost need to put sunscreen on it because 2 minutes out in the sun, I could probably get burnt. So yeah. No, it's been fine. I just have to make sure that I'm, always wearing sunscreen. Just thinking about it that way.
Yeah, we have a lot of great fans that are super excited that you're here in Tampa. Braden says, Cody, dude, what's up? I'm from North Dakota, too. Glad to see you make it to the big leagues and on my favorite team, too. So nice connection there. Ward Burns with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Ward. Appreciate it. Says, welcome to Tampa, Todd. The city already loves you. Can't wait to see you put dudes on their ass this year and years to come. So it was almost, serendipity, or it was meant to be that you came to the Buccaneers because your high school team were the Pirates. And I know that you're a badass offensive lineman now, but not only could you throw it a little bit playing in an emergency quarterback role, but you can kick and punt it too. Is that correct?
I was the kicker on our team. Yeah.
What was your range like?
Oh, shoot. I don't even remember where it would bounce into the end zone and we would all go crazy because we thought we were just kicking it so far. But yeah, you would be shocked at how small my hometown was.
So you're not an emergency kicker if they need one?
I mean, shoot, if they need it, I'll figure it out. But I'm just going to toe kick it as far as I can.
That's great.
So what happened with the emergency quarterback situation? How many snaps did you play? I know some people were impressed by the way you were slinging it, but can you tell us what happened in that moment?
Well, yeah, I had been a quarterback for most of my life. When I first started playing in 5th grade, all the way up until 9th or 10th grade, I was a quarterback. So I had always kind of had that experience, and then I played tight end for a couple years. But then my senior year, our quarterback had a little AC joint issue, finished the game. So I went in and, played the rest of that game at quarterback. And then the next probably 2 or 3 games as well at quarterback. And it was fun to get back to that a little bit, always loved tight end, but when you can touch the ball every play, especially in small town 9-man North Dakota football, it was a lot of fun.
That's right. What was that adjustment like going from a 9-man team to, the traditional 11? Was there much of an adjustment or just, oh, all right, there's a couple extra guys?
Yeah, it wasn't too much. I mean, if anything, like any high school to college player, it's just the speed of the game, obviously. And that was probably even more amplified because there's probably a speed difference from 9-man to 11-man high school football. So add that on to playing Division I college football as well. So the numbers never really affected me much. It was just kind of the speed.
Now, I know a lot of people from the upper mid-northwest or upper Midwest, rather. You talk to Tristan. They're big-time wrestling fans. Are you a wrestling fan, whether it's professional or if you want to call, the WWE, AEW professional wrestling or the amateur wrestling, Olympic wrestling? Are you a fan of either of those?
I loved WWE growing up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
My brother and I had the belts,
Nice.
all the swag. We would go on the trampoline and walk out from our patio to all the walkout music, and we would have. We were big into it.
I did like the same exact thing growing up.
Everyone, yeah,
Everyone did, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
That
try
is-
not to break someone in half, and then
Right.
my God, he's broken in half.
Yeah, and I would always do like it doesn't matter what you think, like that type of thing
Do
with
you
The Rock.
still
and everyone
watch?
loves Stone Cold.
No, I haven't been as big. If I'm in a hotel on a Friday night or something, I'll watch SmackDown or something, but haven't really kept up with it a whole lot.
Yeah, you're a pretty busy guy, so so understandably, and we were saying earlier, Bucs fans have already just loved you based on other press conferences and learning about you and reading some things about you. And I think one of the fun things that you had at North Dakota State was these celebrations after getting first down. Do you plan on bringing that to Tampa, or kind of earning your piece first and then implementing it along the way?
I think I'm going to go more that route. I think I'm going to earn it, and I never have done it or, do it, about myself. It was always just kind of a fun thing, but still don't want the wrong image to be portrayed. I'm going to earn it first, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Now, I heard that you and some of your teammates during the season or whenever just hanging out, you guys would come up with your own Mount Rushmore list of different topics that you guys would talk about. Do you remember any of the topics you guys would get into, or do you have a Mount Rushmore of your favorite Mount Rushmores?
Oh, shoot, yeah. We would sit in the hot and cold tubs before and after practice, and we would just rip these all day. Some of the best ones, I think, are road trip snacks. That is always a fun one. Gets a lot of options. I think the best one is best time to have a drink, a beer, whatever. Just kind of best time to have a drink. That was always a fun one.
Shower.
That's my one all the time. And then a couple other ones are just pretty basic ones, like we would do, like a Mount Rushmore of the worst things like that we go through at NDSU, just like the hard workouts, the hard lifts, just kind of, having fun with that. And probably the last one's just like any kind of drink or snack or just something like that. It was anything you can imagine. We were kind of doing it all.
Yeah,
talking to Coach Larson.
Just shooting the crap with the boys. No, that's all. That's all I was going to say. Is just shooting the crap with the boys.
It's awesome. And just like to piggyback off Matt said, the celebrations and then the camaraderie you had with your teammates. Talking to Coach Larson, he said one of the biggest things that you impacted your teammates with was you just go out there and have fun. And that's something that spread contagiously throughout the team. And, some people, they come in, it's all about work. It's all about the grind, and they can lose track of why they started playing football in the first place. How do you keep grounded like that? How do you keep grounded playing at such a high level with such pressure on you, playing a kid's game, really?
That's really exactly what you said. That's how I kind of keep grounded is obviously playing at a very high level, and in college playing at a high level too, but and it's obviously important, but it's still, you just got to think, hey, we're playing a kid's game. Like, how blessed are we to be able to do this? It's our job, but why not have fun while we're doing it? For me, when I have fun, it makes me play even better. And it took Coach Larson a while to come around to my style.
He said that.
Did he say that?
He said at first I was unsure.
Yeah, he thought me joking around meant I wasn't locked in or whatever, but no, I mean, that's just kind of how I am and how I always have been. And to each their own. Like, people who are always, like straight face, have to be locked in. That's how they get ready for games. That's how they play. It's what they do. So, and I try to not be annoying with how much fun I'm having, but I just kind of, like everyone to kind of go about their own process, their own way, and on how to get ready and play games.
Is it kind of like you can flip the switch when you need to, in a sense?
I would say so. I think you have to be able to flip the switch. Like, I'm obviously, fun loving, whatever guy, but you have to have a different mentality to play offensive line and to play it at such a high level.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to, whether there's a switch or not, you have to be able to have whatever that is in your brain to just kind of flip, I guess. Yeah, like you said, you got to be a switch.
Yeah, so obviously it's early. You still have a lot of work to do, and obviously you want to earn that spot. But me and Matt were talking the other day. We kind of have a predetermined nickname for you and Ryan Jensen, the Bash Brothers, because you guys are both going to be in there, and I know Ryan's excited to play next to you and telling you guys are gonna f some people up. So if you win that spot, that's how I'm going to refer to you guys. But I know we only have you for a couple minutes left. Man, if you didn't have anything, I was going to put you guys both on the spot and ask you to go ahead.
Yeah, I just have one quick thing talking about, your style of play, just watching your tape. You're a guy that there's playing to the whistle, and then there's not going over the line by any means, but you're almost playing to that second whistle. And I think one of the things that really stood out to me, and this goes in hand with the zone blocking scheme that the Bucs are going to implement. I love the way that you're able to, block a defensive lineman or, help with a double team like you were talking about with Luke Gedeke, and then get to that second level and find that linebacker. Would you say that's one of more of the top levels of your game in run blocking? Just the way you get to that second level, man, it's not easy because you're trying to hit a moving target at the same time. So there's definitely timing and skill to it for sure.
Oh, for sure. It takes a lot. It's not only that, you have to mesh well with the people you're playing next to as well. You have to, feel that was my left guard in college. We knew each other so well. I knew exactly how much help he needed. And you're just trying to get to that point with the guys here now. And that's definitely one of the better parts of my game. Just, using my athleticism a little bit to, pop the guy here and then get up to the second level and just kind of block in space.
What's your favorite thing about blocking? Is it pulling? Is it getting to that next level? Is it putting someone on their ass? What's your favorite thing that you enjoy blocking?
I think it's got to be putting someone on their ass. Like you said, the way I always, I think of, there's playing to the whistle, but playing to the echo of the whistle is kind of the way I go about my game. I just like to finish people.
Yeah, we saw that at the Senior Bowl a ton too. I mean, you were pancaking guys and moving to different positions as well. But JC, the floor is yours for whatever you wanted to put us on the spot about.
Yeah, I want to put you guys both on the spot. Talk about Mount Rushmore. It's talked about, WWE wrestling. I want to put you both on the spot here. And Cody, you're the guest. So I'll start with you. Give me your Mount Rushmore of WWE superstars.
Okay. Okay, and you got to give me a little bit of grace here because I grew up, obviously watching
Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, yeah,
different eras. So, for me, all right, and I'll give a little bit of a reasoning with each of them if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I loved John Cena was always my guy. I had all this swag, the "You Can't See Me" sweatbands, had the WWE spinning belt when he was the champion. So he was always my guy. Loved him. Also, The Undertaker was another guy that I loved. I went as The Undertaker for Halloween for 2 years. So
That's awesome.
I loved him. I liked Shawn Michaels too. Just kind of, I'll just say Shawn Michaels because, the whole DX thing and also just himself. Like I would cut my shirts like he did, where they're like the poncho or whatever, I would cut them like that all the time. And lastly, I think I say so many guys. No, I'm not going to say him. I'm going to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And the only reason I put him so late is because he was kind of obviously a little bit before my time, kind of came back in a little bit after. But when I was heavy into it, I don't really think he was around too much for WWE at that time.
Good list.
Absolutely fair. We have a lot of similar ones for sure. My order would be The Rock, number one. I love The Rock. If you smell, I still get goosebumps when you hear that. The catchphrases, the eyebrow raise, all that stuff. Whipping your candy ass, all that. Stone Cold, I put two. The beer, yeah, jabroni. The beer with Stone Cold, bashing it together. The stunners, all the time he stunned the McMahons, absolutely. By the way, Shawn Michaels not on my list, very close, but his intro music, "Sexy Boy," has to be number one without question. Number three, John Cena, just because growing up at the same time, I remember my 6th grade birthday party. the SmackDown we were going to like a house show, but the SmackDown right before he lost his U.S. title, the spinner one, and I was like absolutely devastated. I was so sad, but I got over it. The fourth one, I'm honestly torn between. And I know you said The Undertaker. I'm also thinking like old school, like a Ric Flair or something like that. I gotta go with The Undertaker though, the American Badass. And then like when he came back as the Dead Man and all the spooky stuff that he did. That would be my list. There's so many great options, but yeah, great question, JC. What's
Really
yours?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we all have similarities on our list. Obviously, I think The Rock definitely for everything he did transcending the sport, taking that mantle, the amazing matches he had with Stone Cold, and then continuing after Stone Cold had retired, which brings me to Stone Cold as well. I mean, I'm a little older than both of you guys, so he was definitely the Attitude Era, him and Mike Tyson, the epic battles that he had. I still remember being at the Garden for WrestleMania when he went against Shawn Michaels, who's on my list as well, because he's just an amazing wrestler. DX, as you said, Cody, I got to have him there. And it's tough for me for this last one because there's guys that I love. Like, I was a big Kane fan growing up. I love Kane. But I can't put him there over whoever I want to. And then you mentioned the old school guys like Flair and Hogan have done so much for this. But I still have to go with Taker. I'm right there with you. I mean, he's just the whole aura, the transformation from the Dead Man to the American Badass, back to the Dead Man, the streak. You look at any of the documentaries you watch on the Taker, it just blows my mind. I leave John Cena off this list because even though he's from my next door neighbor town where I grew up, because I think John Cena single-handedly destroyed and saved wrestling at the same time. And the reasoning why is because without John Cena, WWE probably wouldn't be there. I mean, he literally kept that company afloat when everybody else left, him and Undertaker. But he also ushered in the era of all the kids in the PG era. So, I mean, it moved from Attitude, Ruthless Aggression into the PG era. So it's like, but he's right there too. I mean, you can't take away what he's done. But yeah, that was awesome. I love doing that.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
Cody, we can't thank you enough for your time. Appreciate you joining the show today. Any last message you want to say to the Bucs fans who are going to be watching you this season?
Shoot, no, just excited. I mean, you can already sense the love from this fan base, how awesome the fan base is. So many awesome people have reached out to me, and really just excited to be able to play in front of all of them. And that's about it. Just a lot of love from the Bucs fans. And now for the Bucs fans as well.
Woo.
Awesome. Love hearing it. Cody, thank you so much for joining the show. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the field soon. Best of luck this season.
Sounds great. Thank you guys so much.
See you next week at OTAs.
Cody Mauch, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we will see him at OTAs very soon. As we continue the show, I just want to talk about Celsius one more time. Of course, Celsius is the presenting sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. You heard me talk about all of their variety of flavors before. Of course, if you want to get it in bulk, get that variety pack because variety is the spice of life. You can have it sent to your house or apartment every week, month, quarterly, yearly, whenever you want it. Just make sure you are drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. We got a couple more minutes left of the show. It is just myself and JC, but that's all right. I mean, listen, we're not Cody Mauch, but we can still bring it, no pun intended, to the Rock. But man, that was a super fun. That was a super fun interview. I mean, you could see why Cody just automatic. Oh, we forgot to ask him about the violin. We'll ask him about that.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah. As Wayne says, go Todd. Ward says buying the jersey now.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not? 69 plus he's
hell
of a person, hell of a player. I mean, I'm a big fan. I know we're not supposed to be because we're supposed to be indifferent, and my opinions will always stay that when writing or reacting. But big fan of the person at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people got to understand you got to remove not biases by any means, but some people you just know better than others, whether they're around in the locker room or whatever it may be. That doesn't prevent us from being like, this player played well, this player played bad, but Cody makes it easy to root for him, and the rest of the rookie class as well. A lot of great guys moving forward. But JC, while we have you on the show, just your overall outlook of the Bucs offense, maybe specifically that offensive line, the changes that they've made this year going into the season. Just what's your overall thoughts of this group?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more optimistic than most people about the Bucs this season. I don't know, it's because I spent so much time in Tampa now that I'm just starting to pull for the team. It's getting to know the guys and being here at, instead of like a national level, being at a local level and getting to watch these guys and hear these guys and see the amount of work they put in. But I'm high on the offensive line and the offense in general. I mean, you look at, I think Gedeke is going to take a he's going to take a big jump this year. He's obviously putting the work in. I really like Filer, what he brings, the size to that line. I think Tristan's not going to skip a beat. Having Jensen back to set the tone is going to be huge. And whether it's Cody, whether it's Nick Leverett, whether it's one of these other guys, I think they're in a good position. And most importantly, I mean, obviously tackle's a little sketchy there as far as depth goes, but on the interior where you were hit the hardest really last season is, I think you have a good spot. I'm so excited for Canales' offense because I think it's going to put all of these players in a position to do what to excel and succeed. I mean, you look at last year's system was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You're just out there saying we're going to beat you with our best guys, and that's how we're going to do it. We're not going to do pre-snap motion. Talking to some of the offensive linemen, in the room, they would go to the coaching staff and say, hey, we feel really comfortable about these run plays, and they wouldn't get called. You hear Coach Goody say last season, in the middle of the season, he doesn't call the plays, that they had runs that they could have called, and they don't. And I think, when you look at Canales' system, it's not only going to put the offensive line in a good position, it's a very quarterback-friendly offense. It's going to put them in a good position. The running backs are going to be able to get out in space with their athletic offensive linemen. And still, you worry about, the wide receivers saying that they're going to marry the run and marry the pass and everything. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to be more of a run-based team. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both had over 1,000 yards last season. And yes, I do think Evans will get 1,000 yards this season, guys. The streak continues. All right. Sue me. I had to pick something. All right. Crazy. And all right. I was wrong. I apologize to the Bucs fans and to Mike Evans. He got 1,000 yards. I'll apologize to him in person at his gala, which if you haven't signed up for, they're doing actually a free giveaway. All you got to do is donate $13 to be entered into it, and you get golf tickets and gala tickets. So definitely check that out. But I will apologize to him.
That is June 10th, correct?
Yep. June 9th is the golf, and June 10th is the gala. Yeah,
I mean, no one is right 100% of the time, when it comes to making predictions. It's funny. I was actually listening to a podcast that Charles Barkley was on, and he was like, essentially the reason why I hate Skip Bayless, and he was like, one, because he has that bias that we were talking about where like two guys will do the exact same thing, whether it's like LeBron and Giannis or whoever, and whether he likes a guy or not, he'll be like, oh, this was great because of this, or oh, he didn't do that because of this. And he doesn't treat the guys the same way in terms of this guy played well, this guy played bad. So he hates that he has that like specific agenda / bias to him. And two, he said he just likes messing with them because he's thin-skinned. So I thought that was
I'm surprised more people aren't on me for saying Devin White would be a top 3 in defensive player of the year.
Listen, I mean, again, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. Someone got mad at me a couple of weeks or like a week ago. I tweeted a couple things because the Mets took 2 out of 3 of the Rays. And this guy was like, you thought Joe Tryon-Shanker was going to be good this year. And I was like, yeah, I predicted he was going to have a solid season. And it didn't turn out that way. He's like, you said he had a great game week 1. I was like, yeah, I did. I thought he played well. And then the rest of the season he didn't. Like, what do you want me to do? So you're never going to be right 100% of the time. I want to get to a couple more comments before we finish the show. Grace Point says, Russell Gage already hurt, so do we need a wide receiver 3? So we'll get some clarification this week. But so Grace Point, what they're talking about is Baker Mayfield was talking about playing with Mike and Chris and the wide receiver group, how he said it's like he's truly impressed by what they bring. And he said Russell got a bit of an injury. He said last week, but it may have been he just misspoke, and he was talking about when Russell got hurt last year. Not totally 100% sure. He could have got hurt last week, or it may have just been a misquote by Baker Mayfield. Let's also keep in mind it is May, so if you're going to get injured or anything, might as well get hurt now than when he got hurt last year in late July and August. So, and this wide receiver room is going to look very different. They're not going to be that tall, but with the new offense, they don't need like extremely tall wide receivers. They need speed, and that's what Trey Palmer is going to bring. Devin Tompkins, we have a story about him today on PewterReport.com. Definitely check that out. Devin Tompkins at least has speed. He doesn't have the height, but you know what? That's all right. So don't sleep on this Bucs wide receiver group just yet. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think obviously, you have your top three there, and Russell Gage, obviously Mike and Chris. But then they brought in David Moore, who's got experience in the league as well. He's got 4 years in the league. And I really, at this point, I think, yeah, they're all young guys. They're the rookies, the second-year players. But if you look at Devin Tompkins, Kalen Geiger, Rakeem Jarrett, Trey Palmer, Tabe Barber, who's been catching everything thrown his way, Cade Warner. They have really good wide receivers on this roster that are really going to challenge and push for some of these roster spots. I mean, Rakeem Jarrett probably should have been drafted where either earlier or where Trey Palmer was. Trey Palmer probably should have been drafted a little earlier. What held him back was just 1 year production in college, and only because he was behind Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Kayshon Boutte, Terrence Marshall Jr. He was stuck behind some of the best top 10 wide receivers in the league right now. So that's why he didn't get an opportunity. Only 1 year production, but I think as far as the wide receiver room, they're in pretty good shape. Could they stand to add a veteran? Yeah, but now you're just exposing another one of these guys potentially to waiver wires. Which could, end up, hurting your depth on the practice squad now that you can elevate guys multiple times a year. So there's definitely, I think some upside. And I think even Todd Bowles said that, in his press conference the other day, that it's going to be a hard decision to make because of the guys they have in and what they like. Of course, we haven't seen them in pads yet, caveat to everything, but I'm excited for what these young guys can bring.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to say a lot of potential, but there's potential out there. So will be fun to keep an eye on. Just want to remind everybody, we're wrapping up the show now, but want to remind everybody, scheduling next week. We are not going to have a show on Monday. It is Memorial Day. Everyone enjoy the weekend. Yes. Obviously, we want to pay homage to those that have served and unfortunately passed away defending our country, but we will not be having a show on Monday for Memorial Day. Then Tuesday, we're back at OTAs at practice. A lot of Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask. We'll recap everything from week 2 of OTAs, at least the second OTA that media can be at. And then Wednesday, we'll be back. So that's Tuesday at 4. Wednesday night, we have another guest on the show, running back Rachaad White, recurring guest. He was on the show last year. Scott and J.C. were on that one. And Rachaad is returning again next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Going to be very exciting to talk to Rachaad, who, of course, had a pretty solid year as a rookie, was also our Bucs training camp diary player on the offensive side of the ball. So going to be great with Rachaad White. So one more time, reminder.
And everywhere, too.
Yeah, no show on Monday. Tuesday, we will give our analysis on OTAs. And Wednesday night, we have Rachaad White back on the show. Before we sign off, just want to remind everybody to please follow, like, and subscribe to Pewter Report. Our social media is at Pewter Report on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Please hit that like button to our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe if you like the show. If you like when we have guests, especially player guests, all the videos that we put out as well, please just do us a favor and like and subscribe to that. But with all that said, that's going to do it for us on tonight's show. For J.C. Allen, for Cody Mauch, our guest of the evening, I'm Matt Matera saying thank you, everybody, for watching. We love you, Pewter people. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week for another edition of the Pewter Report Podcast. Stay safe. Have a great time. Peace out.
Out.